Well, you go back to, I think, what Senator Rodonio and Comptroller Topinka had in there, that the governor had the opportunity to do that. If the only way out of this is to continue to borrow after, again, the largest income tax increase in the history of the state is the answer to it, we are definitely down a path of no return. I mean, this income tax increase brought in massive amounts of new cash into the state budget. They said that it was going to be used for paying the bills. That's what it should be used for.
I don't think that's correct. They said it was to catch up with the built-in deficit so the hole doesn't get any deeper. Can you point to when they said it was to pay off?
I believe it was.
Transcript, there's a transcript.
Go ahead.
There is a transcript from the Senate debate that says it will be used to pay off the bills. So we'd be happy to provide that.
Well, could you go into more detail about how long it would take to fill this hole, pay off these debts that have piled up under your scenario? I mean, how long would the businessman who's on the brink of going out of business have to wait to be paid?
Well, since I attempt to pay the bills, and I stress attempt, we're probably at about 6 to 7 months in abeyance, and now are in April of we're paying bills now that go back to April of this year. You know, we still face a $4 billion debt. What we tried to do, and it's somewhat like the juggler in the circus that has plates, and you get the first one going, and then you get to 10, and by the time you get to 10, you got to run back to 1 because we're trying to juggle whatever monies are coming in. And it is a slow coming in. So I have even less money coming in, and I think the assumption was, and of course Chris says they've got the transcript that shows that money was supposed to come for paying of bills. We have not gotten a lick of that, okay? Not at all. So as a result, I'm just where I started, and all I ask is keep the budget as flat as possible. Don't add new programs. Let me play catch-up.
So under the policies you're advocating here, how long until the payment cycle could be reduced to something manageable, like 30 or 60 days?
Well, it depends on what the legislature does. That I can't answer to. Well, the economy, too, is huge.
Well, and also depends on what other measures you take. Obviously, if we were able to pass a pension reform bill or do something with employee health care insurance or do additional reforms to Medicaid or stop new programs, that money can be redirected to bill payment. So it's not, you can't look at only one side of the equation. It's what is the financial plan. And that's one of the biggest problems we have. The one that we had, that the Senate Republicans put out, had us operating with a surplus in 5 years.
What difficulty have you folks had getting a message out to the people about how dire the situation is?
Well,
They get it?
I think they're getting it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they're getting it loud and clear. The whole debate in Washington, D.C. on the national debt ceiling, Standard & Poor's downgrading us, the Moody's and Fitch comments, the special reports out of Moody's. Now, I realize some of these are in platitudes that the general public may not be focusing in on, but there is no question in my mind that the public of Illinois is getting it as to how dire it is. And you just talk about borrowing more money. They understand the problems in doing that. As I noted earlier, just right here is a very, very small example. This Treasure State Fair tent has got our no debt brochures flying out the door, and that's people walking in either asking them or seeing them and taking them.
You know, I would make note that short-term borrowing, where we know that what the money is for, how long it's going to be out, when it's coming in, I mean, you can really get your hands around it and you know how it's going to be paid off. That is a tool that's financially usable. But to just have borrowing into what becomes a generic slush fund, if you will, for government to operate, where literally the borrowing masks the fact that you don't have a balanced budget, that you are in debt, and you keep doing it, and you keep digging that hole deeper, just has to stop. I mean, it's just common sense. And so as a result, you know, the governor really has to kind of pull in his horns on this one. You just can't keep borrowing. I think the Senate and the House have some decent plans here to go forward, and we'll certainly work with them.
And I want to follow up on what Judy said there. I mean, I think it's very clear in that in regards to short-term borrowing, as the comptroller or the treasurer of the state of Illinois, we could stop that. I have made it very clear to this administration that this treasurer is not saying no for the sake of saying no. I am willing to work with the administration and the comptroller to see what type of terms they're looking at, what it's going to be paid for, when it's going to be paid for, what stream of revenue will pay for it, and coming to a right financial business decision. This treasurer is not saying no to the administration for the sake of no. And I think the other thing that you're hearing today is the leadership in the General Assembly, and both Representative Cross and Senator Rodonio aren't just saying no, they're walking with alternatives. They've got alternative plans to the way this state is being run today and by this administration. So you're finding the finance officers and the leader of the General Assembly standing here saying, Governor, there are alternatives. There's another way to go.